to this new video. Today is a fine autumn day in November and I'm out here finally taking some autumn photos because I've kind of been slacking on the photography with especially these autumn colors, so I'm really excited to be here right now on the mountain. It's so beautiful. I hope I could show you some good shots because the raws I just saw on my camera, I think I'm gonna have fun editing. But anyway, that's not the topic today. Today we are talking about a lens. It's, by the way, the first lens for this camera I have ever owned. I have owned it for like 2 years now. It's the 14 to 140mm super zoom lens from Panasonic for micro four third cameras like mine, which is the Lumix GX80. Today is just the basic standard setup. We always have the Lumix GX80 with the 20mm f1.7, but I've reviewed that before, so in case you're interested in that, you can check it out here. Oh, I never get it right. Anyway, see you when I'm ready to review it. Just kidding, guys. I was just having my snack, and yeah, let's get to the review, but I'll do that at home. So, we're back home now in my room, so yeah, let's get straight to the review. We are talking about the 14 to 140mm super zoom lens from Panasonic for micro four thirds cameras, as I said. That means this lens is equivalent to a quite wide 28mm lens, and it can zoom all the way into a 280mm, which is actually a very nice telephoto length. The aperture goes from 3.5 to 5.6 depending on how far you have zoomed in, and we will be considering the performance of this lens upon 6 factors. First, the build quality. What does it feel like? Is it plasticky? Is it made of aluminium or whatever else? Wood. The focal range itself, how well it performs while changing the focal length, the aperture, the autofocus, the sharpness of the lens, and also the OIS, the optical image stabilization. So let's start with the build quality. I can't really say much apart from great. It's made of aluminium, it feels really nice, doesn't feel plasticky at all, doesn't feel cheap, it feels like you actually paid good money for this thing. It feels really nice. Just a quick warning, because of the OIS inside, you'll sometimes feel there's something maybe rattling. Not rattling, but you can feel that inside something's moving. Don't worry, nothing's broken, that's just the image stabilizer. Next point, the focal range. Well, I already told you, you go from a wide 28mm into a really nice long telephoto lens to 280mm on full frame. And I think that is an excellent range. You've got quite wide to really nice telephoto, and I can't really say much about this either. It's just really great. One thing though that you need to know for the performance itself, the zoom ring I think could be a little smoother. Like, it's smooth, it's fine, but I've used some other lenses, some other zoom lenses that are so smooth, it's like, oh, it's like really nice. So this one's not as nice. It's good, but it could be a little smoother. Next point is the aperture. So this, I would say, is the main flaw of this lens, because this lens you can get on Amazon for, I think, well, let me have a look. Alright, I just had a look. If you buy this lens new, you can buy it for 550 to 650 euros. I don't know what that is in dollars, but it's euros here. But you can also buy this as a kit lens with your first Panasonic camera. In that case, it'll be cheaper, like about 150 bucks cheaper. So for this price, it's like a higher, it's not high price, but it's not a budget lens either. I think the aperture is like only still acceptable. Like, it could be a fixed aperture, but they do have zoom lenses with fixed 2.8, but those are around the 900 bucks area. So I suppose it's alright that this does have a variable aperture. The thing is though, you need to consider that in low light it's therefore not the beast of lenses. Of course, if you have a tripod with you, that doesn't count and it doesn't matter, especially for cityscapes at night, and so you're always going to have your tripod with you and you're going to have long exposures anyway, and f8, so that completely doesn't matter. But if you like shooting handheld at night, this might not be the lens that I would recommend. and also the depth of field at some point could be a little shallower. When you're really wide at 3.5, you're normally not looking for a shallow depth of field anyway, but especially when I punch in all the way to 140mm, equivalent to 280, I really want super nice shallow depth of field, and I mean it's alright, and if you look at this photo, it's fine, like I like it, but it could be a little more. Like 2.8 be super great, even if it stayed at 3.5 that'd be great, but anyway, that's just dreams of mine, you know. But all in all, if you're not sure about the shallow depth of field, for upper body portraits this thing is brilliant. I think it's totally enough. If you look at these photos, they do have a shallow depth of field. The depth of field could be shallower of course, but I think it looks great actually. Just for full body portraits, which I actually like to do sometimes, I would wish they would have a little shallow depth of field, but never mind. The fourth point we are talking about is the autofocus. Concerning the autofocus, I can't really say much apart from it's great actually. It's super quick, like it's so quick I humanly can't really say or measure its speed, because I mean it's I could say half a second because that's like no time for me, but I'm pretty sure it's faster than that. Like you just point it, half click, bam, focus is there. Absolutely no waiting. In low light it could get a little difficult, but as long as you're in normal light it is really fast. Also something to note is that on Panasonic cameras, and I don't know how it is on other cameras, but for example as far as I know Canons don't have that many focus modes, maybe only normal single shot focus and continuous focus and manual focus. This one actually has single shot focus, manual focus, continuous focus and something else. I don't even know what it is. But anyway, the lens I've got on here right now, the 20mm f1.7, only supports two of those. You can only do the normal AFS focus or the manual focus, but you can't use continuous focus and the other stuff. But this lens does support all four modes, at least all four modes my camera has, the Panasonic GX80, if anybody's interested. This lens anyway supports all of the focus modes. The next point is the sharpness, and this is also a slight flaw of this lens. It's not like the best and sharpest lens, especially in low light, and when you go to ISO levels of 800 and above, it will lose some sharpness, and you will definitely see that there's a slight lack of sharpness. It could be a little sharper, but especially if you are taking photos in nature. If you look at this photo right here, this was zoomed into 140mm all the way, and I think it's tack sharp, so in normal daylight it is sharp. But in low light it could get just a slight little bit, it's not perfectly sharp, it's sharp, but it could be a little sharper, especially compared to this lens right here. I always notice that this one is so much sharper. So it's fine, but it does lack a little something, especially in low light. And the last point, the optical stabilization. I would consider the image stabilization as a compensator for the worst performance in low light you get through Micro Four Third cameras, and also this lens with its 3.5 minimum aperture, which is, well, not very wide open. I actually use this lens with the stabilization on the lens and on the camera. So it's dual IS, so it's incredible actually. I sometimes shoot photos handheld with a shutter speed of 1/25th of a second and get sharp images. That's like, I think that's pretty sick. And I think I could push it a little more to like even, I don't know, what to say, I don't know. I could push it a little more I think, but I never felt the need for it, and it always gets a little riskier. But in case you're using, let's say, the Lumix GX, I think it was the G7, which doesn't have image stabilization in the camera, this will definitely help you out, especially also for filmmakers when filming handheld. The image stabilization, the optical stabilization in this lens is really great. Like, I'm really happy with it, and especially when you're doing wide shots and you're having some camera movement, showing different buildings or whatever, this thing really performs very well. And that is pretty much it actually. There's not much more to say about this lens, so all in all I do recommend this lens in case you buy it as a kit lens. If you buy it by itself for the money, then I might even consider saving that money, adding a little extra, and then buying either the 12 to 35 or the 35 to 100mm lens, because those are the standard zoom lenses, but they have fixed apertures at 2.8, so they are better in low light and have a shallow depth of field. So those would actually be my preferences, but those cost a few $100 more. So in case you're just looking for a really cool zoom lens which has super zoom going from quite wide to really nice telephoto, then this is definitely a right choice. Just keep in mind the aperture and sometimes the sharpness, but mainly the aperture is the main flaw you get with this. but also in case you're a filmmaker who likes to shoot run and gun filming handheld, this thing really can help you out with its optical stabilization. Anyway, that's it for this week, and I hope you liked this video. I hope you found some valuable information in this review. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, and if you want to see more content like this, feel free to subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you again next week.